In accordance with the rules of procedure, the second reading debate is adjourned and the bill is referred to the House Committee.
Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. President, I move the second reading of the Companies Amendment Bill 2024, the bill. The purpose of the bill is to enable listed companies incorporated in Hong Kong to hold and dispose of shares bought back in Treasury and promote paperless corporate communication. The proposed legislative amendment is a follow-up on an initiative in the 2023 policy address that allows listed companies incorporated in Hong Kong to deal with shares bought back under the Treasury shares mechanism of the listing rules. We propose to amend the Companies Ordinance (CO) to allow listed companies incorporated in Hong Kong to hold shares bought back as Treasury shares and to transfer or resell them under certain restrictions on or off the exchange. Listed companies may buy back shares for a variety of reasons. If listed companies can hold Treasury shares and resell them in the future, they will have greater flexibility to adjust their share capital. They will also have more options in the use of capital. Listed company can resell Treasury shares for cash to raise capital or use them to allot bonus shares to shareholders to increase the return to shareholders. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Task Force on Enhancing Stock Market Liquidity, the 2023 policy address proposed a consultation on facilitating the repurchase of shares by issuers by the Hong Kong EX. Having consulted the public, the Hong Kong EX amended the listing rules to remove the requirement to cancel shares bought back and allow listed companies to hold them in Treasury subject to the laws of their places of incorporation and their constitutional documents. Listed companies can resell or transfer Treasury shares on or off the exchange under a mechanism similar to the allotment of new shares. The amended rules came into effect in June this year. In places such as the mainland, Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, where Hong Kong companies are also incorporated, the holding of Treasury shares is allowed. As the current Section 269 of the CO requires Hong Kong incorporated companies to cancel shares bought back, there is a need to amend the CO. The major proposed amendments are: A. Listed companies are allowed to hold shares in Treasury bought back in their own names or through a nominee. B. Listed companies can cancel, transfer, or sell Treasury shares to any person on or off the exchange, subject to the same requirements as the allotment of new shares. C. Rights attached to Treasury shares, including the right to attend and vote at general meetings, receive dividends, should be suspended. Similarly, holders of Treasury shares will not be regarded as family members of the company. In the calculation of threshold in corporate matters such as passing an ordinary or special resolution, calling a general meeting, and exercising the right by minority shareholders in a takeover, Treasury shares are excluded. 4. Listed companies holding Treasury shares in its name or through its nominees must enter its name or that of its nominee in the register of members. For transparency, the listed company should be required to file a return to the company's registry upon repurchase of shares, sale, transfer, or cancellation of Treasury shares. Regarding paperless corporate communication, the bill proposes to allow companies to adopt an implied consent mechanism for disseminating corporate communication by means of website. It also proposes sufficient safeguard to protect shareholders' interests while facilitating digitalization and environmental protection. There are 3 proposals. First, we propose to allow companies incorporated in Hong Kong to choose to adopt the implied consent mechanism for disseminating information by means of website. That is, if their articles of association contain a provision that they may disseminate information by means of website, they may do so without having to seek prior consent from each shareholder. Second, separate notification requirement for each corporate communication uploaded on website. For listed companies adopting the implied consent mechanism, we propose to obviate the need to send a separate notification to shareholders whenever a new communication is uploaded to their websites. The Hong Kong EX provides a service to send instant notifications of listed companies' information by emails or mobile alerts. For unlisted companies adopting the mechanism, we propose to require them to obtain a one-off prior express consent individually from each shareholder before obviating the separate notification requirement. Third, safeguards to protect shareholders' interests. We propose that companies intending to adopt the implied consent mechanism be required to send a one-off notification to each shareholder to inform them of the relevant arrangement, including the website address and the implementation time for electronic dissemination of information by means of website. Shareholders may request free electronic copies. I ask members to support the bill for the early implementation of the Treasury Share Framework and the arrangement of paperless corporate communication. I so submit. Thank you. And I propose the question to you that the aforesaid bill be read the second time. In accordance with the rules of procedure, the second reading debate is adjourned and the bill is referred to the House Committee.
II.Govt.
Secretary for Environment and Ecology.